Tom Brandt here is that attorney who Ryan Grant wanted murdered, for lack of a better phrase. That's just the fact. I want your take on this, what everybody down in Kaufman County is calling an assassination attempt. I do want your take on that, but I also want people to get an understanding of your experience and maybe prosecutors in general. When you were working on this case with Arlington, did you ever get uneasy? Was there an uneasy feeling that something's just not right here with this?
Yes, actually, my partner and I both felt there was an evil nature to the man, and we did have some threats or some feelings of threats from him before. So it didn't come completely surprise to me.
And you think prosecutors? It's interesting. I want to focus on. You said the word evil. That's an interesting take.
Well, it's
not a criminal. You say an evil feeling.
Well, it is what it is. Yeah. Evil exists, and those who deny that are naive. The fact is that there's a war going on, but against evil, good versus evil, and we have to continue to fight it.
Let's talk about Mark Hasse. First, did you know him?
No, I did not.
And attorneys do cross paths sometimes. What do you hear about Mark Hasse?
Yeah, well, I've heard that he was a good prosecutor and a good man, and I heard about the situation, the tragedy, and it did affected me. And
how did you find out?
My wife actually told me about it, and she wondered if I knew him. But it made me reflect on the assassination attempt that was made on his life and that was accomplished in the murder. And my heart and my prayers go out to him and his family and loved ones and friends for this tragedy. And it made me reflect on the fact that this was not just an attack on an individual, but it was an attack on the rule of law itself.
Right. I know you feel bad about the individual, and as a subset of that, we talked before the newscast about you have a passion about that this is not just a murder, but it is an attack on the way of life almost in America.
It is, because we obsess about things like the economy, but the economy wouldn't exist. Our society wouldn't exist if we didn't have the rule of law. The rule of law is what forms the foundation of our society. It's the stability upon which everything else exists. And what this was an attack directly on that rule of law, because of organized assassination of a prosecutor whose very function is to enforce the law. That kind of an attack is something that we should all be very serious about and say a prayer for the repose of Mark Hasse's soul, but also say a prayer for our society, because this kind of attack must be dealt with swiftly and strongly. We as a society must fight back against these evil attacks.
We got to respond to this one, and I think that's happening. Let me ask you, as you've watched the sheriff in Kaufman County, the police chief in Kaufman, the prosecutor, the DA from Kaufman County, is that part of the passion? They know him, part of the passion. They know him and they miss him and they know him personally. But also, do you think they share this? Does everybody share that passion about the rule of law?
Absolutely. Law enforcement officers, I've represented them and worked with them all my career. They understand an attack on one is an attack on all, and they close ranks and they protect their own. If you attack a judge, if you attack a prosecutor, if you attack a law enforcement officer, if you attack a mayor, those kind of things are an attack upon all of us as a society, and they must be taken seriously, and I know they are being taken tremendously seriously.
Let me ask you something. I don't mean it to be a flip term, but dumb criminals don't even do this. Does this tell you something about the nature? You used the word evil. Is that what we're talking here?
Well, I think it's not only evil, but it appears to be organized evil, so organized crime. And it's that sort of organized crime that I know that the FBI, the law enforcement agencies, Texas Rangers, and all the law enforcement agencies are on alert, because this is more along the lines of an assassination or a terrorist type of an attack. And I see it as such, as an attack upon our society.
And so you expect, as we are seeing, a strong response, but I mean a big response, if necessary, if that's what has to happen. It's going to be all in.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, Tom Brandt, thank you. Good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Glad you're with us, and interesting perspective from a guy who faced a similar incident. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Heather. Oh, I want to stay with this first. Fox 4 is, as you can tell, we're on top of this developing story in Kaufman County. We'll bring you updates on the air and online. MyFoxDFW.com. Our Facebook page has updates as well. That's Fox 4 News.